Hi there, this is Rainey from Raindrops.com, where all your spiritual and Akashic record needs are taken care of. We offer readings, past life regressions, healings. You can search my book titles and read the book reviews. There's all sorts for you to read and learn about. Do go and have a look. We love to see that you've enjoyed our site. Today I'm going to be a little bit longer than usual because I want to tell you something very special. Do you know I have met Jesus? I had a near-death experience, what we see today as NDE experiences. And this was a long time ago. So I was on my big OE, my big overseas experience as a teenager. I live in New Zealand and I had traveled to Australia. My parents got a phone call one night. Your daughter is in Adelaide Hospital and she is on life support. And we are giving you the opportunity to fly over and say your farewells before we disconnect her. Wow, that must be every parent's nightmare when their young teenagers go off into the world. My mother flew over. My father stayed behind to care for the rest of the family and work because he had to provide. And it must have been a very sad and lonely trip for my mother. How hard that would have been. And when she arrived at the hospital, in those days, they didn't have, all the small sized life-saving equipment in those days. They had very big machines. They had a machine keeping my breathing going. They had another big machine pumping my heart. They had tubes down my throat. And so they prepared my mother for what she would see when she entered my room. What a ghastly sight she must have seen, and how heartbreaking. And after a few hours, she went to the doctor and she pleaded, she begged for one more night. She had been praying to God. She had been begging God to bring me home, to let me live. In the meantime, while my body is in a coma, not really expected to live, obviously, because they were going to disconnect me from all the equipment. So I was not a viable body. My soul was in heaven. I remember so clearly as if it was today. I was laying on a bed of light, and as I went to sit up, And someone pushed me back and said, "No, you need to rest. You lie down, and I am here, and I am going to take care of you. I love you. I will look after you. Just rest. You need rest. I am here." And I looked at this beautiful soul. She was dressed in lovely Victorian style clothing. She was a mature lady. And I'm thinking, I should know who this lady is. But I don't know. But I must know her, or she would not be here with me. Back on earth, my mother continues to beg our Heavenly Father to bring me back, to let me live. And she felt that as I was a baby and when I was sick, she would hold me and love me and rock me. And she didn't think it was any different, except I was bigger. But she could still love me and hold me and cuddle me and let me feel her love and bring me back to her. 10 nights she begged for one more night. And I believe the Holy Ghost touched the heart of the doctor, because each time he could not bear to say no, he said yes, another night. So I spent 10 days in heaven, resting for most of that time. And my body was obviously very depleted, that they were ready to disconnect me, that they did not see I could live, or that if I did live, perhaps I would have brain damage. So in heaven, there is no sense of time. It's an earthly thing. It's not in heaven. There is no time in heaven. So after a while of being in heaven and laying on the bed of light and regularly being touched on my chest and loved. Oh, she loved me so much. I felt so bad because I didn't know who she was. But I knew, somehow I knew her, but I didn't know how. I didn't know who she was. And at some point, I must have rested enough, because I found myself standing on a pavement, a beautiful pearly pavement. And in my heart and my soul, I could feel her behind me some distance. And I turned, and yes, there she was, standing there, waving to me. Big smile on her face, so much love pouring out of her to me. And then she started to glow and glow, and the light got brighter, and she became the light, and then she disappeared. And I knew it was her soul as she became the light, and that she had allowed me to see what she looked like in her earthly form. Well, I'm standing on the footpath and I figure, well, I guess I may as well follow the footpath. So I followed the footpath and oh my gosh, it led me to the most beautiful grove and lake. There were beautiful foliage, pretty flowers that were happy and turned their heads and watched me walk by. The lake was huge, and behind it were big, big trees, so big, and a magnificent waterfall falling into the lake. But what was so special, the waterfall fell from a beam of light, and the water fell, and it was a big, beautiful, full waterfall, and yet there were no ripples upon the pond, or the lake, not a pond, a lake. And the lake looked very, very deep as you looked to the center. It was magnificent. It was this beautiful, bright blue against the most incredible green trees behind it. It was a vista to behold. And then I felt him. I felt his presence, and I knew straight away it was Jesus Christ. And I looked up, and I could see him standing at the end of the path, waiting for me. Oh, the love just poured from him. And as I walked towards him, I knew that the love that permeated all of heaven that I could see and feel came from him. It came from Jesus. He had so much love for all the souls in heaven. He just filled it to overflowing with love. And the love was so great. I'm a mother, and I can't imagine loving my daughter more than I do. She is everything to me, and I love her with every part of my being. Yet the love in heaven was greater. It truly was. It was greater. Oh, how happy I was there. I was so happy. And as I came closer to Jesus and stood before him, he gently said to me, "It's not your time." Oh, I knew he would send me back. I didn't want to go back. I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay in this loving heaven full of love and beauty. But he was sending me back, and I was heartbroken. And I'm sure tears fell down my cheeks. My heart was breaking. I did not want to go back. And he said to me, "You are needed. There are many people in your future who will need you, and you will heal them, and you will love them, and they will love you. You are so needed. It broke my heart. He told me many other things about my life ahead of me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, I will be with you. And I soaked up every minuscule of every second that I could and prayed that I would be able to remember this experience before he sent me back. And my next memory is waking up in a bed in a room that was vanilla, and there were decorations hanging from wall to wall and words in the decorations, but I couldn't read them. And there was a window in the wall next to me, but it did not lead to the outside. It led to another room. And in my mind, I said to myself, this is not where I was. And I went unconscious. I lost consciousness. It was such a shock. I knew I was back. I didn't want to be. The next morning, I could hear a male voice calling my name over and over, telling me it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Open your eyes. It's time to wake up. And very slowly, the message came through to my brain, and I opened my eyes. And I saw the most beautiful smile I think I've ever seen on a man. He was just ecstatic. He was so happy. I had woken up. They had not expected this. They thought I was going to die. They considered me dead. And yet here I am, waking up. And I could see there were lots of nurses around my bed. Everyone's looking at me. They're all staring. And I'm not sure about this. I'm not happy about this. It's not where I wanted to be. It's not where I was. I didn't know how to get back there. And then he said to me, your mother is here. Wow. I knew that wasn't true. I knew I was in Australia and my mother was in New Zealand. How could she be there? And I could not speak. I had tubes down my throat. And I nodded my head, no, she's not there. And he said, yes, your mother's here. Look. And he parted the way from the nurses and they all moved. And my mother walked forward and took my hand. And I went unconscious again because it was such a shock. I was so fragile. My mother's prayers were answered. It was Christmas morning. 20 years would go by. 20 years. I'm with a friend. I'm in a small town in New Zealand, and we're standing outside the information centre. And I told my friend, when I was a child, I spent some time here with my grandmother's sister, my great aunt. And I had no memory or idea how to find that family. But I said, let's go in the information centre. Wow. I found treasures. I found a booklet written by my great aunt about the foundation of this little town. And not only that, there were pictures, photos in the booklet. Oh my gosh, a photo of my grandmother as a young girl, about the age of my daughter at that time. Oh, my daughter looked so much like my grandmother. And then teenage pictures, photos of my grandmother that I had never seen. She was so beautiful. And then I saw a picture of my father. He was sitting on the back of a horse-drawn hay cart. And I looked up, and there in front of me, across the road, was a big building with a huge mural painted on it. And it was that exact same photo of my father sitting on the back of a horse-drawn hay cart. My father would have been around 12 years old. Ah, you can't imagine the joy I was experiencing. And I turned the page to see what else there was. And I stared in shock. And the tears ran down my throat, down my face, just kept pouring. And I'm sobbing. I'm absolutely sobbing, standing on the sidewalk, not caring who sees me. I am sobbing because the photo I'm looking at, I recognized her immediately as the lady who loved and cared for me when I needed to rest in heaven 20 years earlier. And who was she? She was my great-grandmother, my grandmother's mother. I had never seen a photo of her. And in the photo, she is wearing the exact same clothing that she presented in heaven. She knew then that further down the track, I would find that photo and I would recognize her straight away. I can't tell you how loved I felt. I felt so much love wrapping its arms around me and holding me. And everything Jesus said to me that would happen in my life, He has been true to His word. Everything has happened as He told me. So I I want you to know, I know and have experienced meeting Jesus in heaven. I know he lives. I know he is real. And if you ever doubt when you're saying your prayers, are they being received? Do they hear my prayers in heaven? Yes, they do. Your prayers are needed. Your prayers are loved, and you are loved. And you are never alone. So I leave this with you with a great deal of love that just pours from my soul, and know that Jesus lives. He loves you, and I wish you blessings from heaven. Bye for now.